Hello, everybody. My name is Stacy Vandergriff, and I'm the health coach here at Symbol Health Clinic in Albertville. And we service all of Mitchell Grocery employees. Today, we're going to be discussing National Nutrition Month. As you all know, you'll be able to earn credit for attending this health break. You'll receive 25 wellness points or one ticket, whichever applies to you. And I just want to thank everybody for taking your time today to attend. There will be a link in the chat that you can put your name in for attendance. In a few days, there will be a makeup video sent out for those who missed the live presentation. If you are not viewing this presentation live, you will receive credit by answering all 5 questions in the recorded video. Okay, so we're going to be going over the return to real food, the 2026 reality check, why we are returning to the whole foods, the 4 pillars of 2026 real food plan, the gut-brain connection. We're going to go over some hidden addictive chemicals, the price of fake foods and availability, also some practical strategies for the real world and moving forward. So National Nutrition Month began in 1973 to help people learn how to eat better. We've celebrated it every March for over 50 years, but 2026 feels like a major shift. The new 2025 through 2030 dietary guidelines mark a massive change in our national food policy. Instead of focusing on complicated diets, the focus is now on one simple goal: eating real food. This means choosing ingredients that come from nature, the earth, the sea, and the farm, rather than items engineered in a lab. By prioritizing whole natural ingredients, these new guidelines offer a simple way for everyone to improve their health through the quality of what we eat. The benefit to eating this way is that we are giving ourselves instructions to repair tissue and fight disease. Did y'all know that in the early 1900s, less than 10% of the average diet came from processed foods? What would be your guess? What is the percentage right now? What would be the percentage of processed foods that we're eating right now? So it may be a surprise or may not be a surprise to some people, but it's over 60%. And so that should really, that number should really open our eyes to what we are really putting in our bodies. So why are we returning to whole foods? The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. states the United States is currently facing a significant health crisis and that roughly 90% of all healthcare spending is now directed toward treating chronic diseases, most of which are driven by what we eat and how we live. Today, more than 70% of American adults are either overweight or obese, and nearly 1 in 3 adolescents has prediabetes. This is more than a healthcare problem. It is a sign that our diets are causing long-term health issues that will affect this generation for the rest of their lives. In 2026, the data is showing that ultra-processed diets are the primary driver of our modern health crisis. These are not just unhealthy foods. They are chemically altered substances designed for shelf life, not for better health. Science has shown that diets high in artificial ingredients, like industrial stabilizers and synthetic additives, are the root causes of chronic inflammation, metabolic dysfunction, and insulin resistance. This is a return back to basics, not just a passing fad. When we choose foods in their natural state, we provide our bodies with a variety of vitamins, minerals, and fiber required for the long-term health. When we eat real food, we are decreasing hunger and we're providing ourselves with specific instructions they need to repair tissue, to regulate hormones, and to fight disease. So the 4 pillars of the 2026 Real Food Plan. The first pillar is The move toward healthy fats. The 2026 guidelines incorporate healthy fats from whole foods such as meat, seafood, eggs, nuts, seeds, olives, and avocados. These fats are the building blocks of our hormones and essential for cellular structure. Most importantly, they are vital for brain health. The human brain is nearly 60% fat, making the intake of healthy lipids a necessity for long-term brain health. For decades, the push to replace traditional fats with industrial alternatives flooded our diets with pro-inflammatory seed oils like soybean and canola, which are high in omega-6 fatty acids. Returning to real whole food fats provides the stable, nutrient-dense fuel your body needs while naturally regulating your appetite, unlike the refined seed oils, which are often chemically unstable and found in foods that bypass the satiety signals. So natural fats trigger the hormones that tell your body you're full, helping you avoid the systemic inflammation and excess calorie consumption associated with highly processed oils. The second pillar is protein being the star of the plate. Protein is the vital foundation of every meal. The 2026 focus has shifted toward ensuring high quality protein intake from both animal and plant sources throughout the day. Why the focus on protein? It supports muscle synthesis, which is our greatest defense against aging. Protein has the highest thermic effect, meaning your body burns more energy digesting it than it does fats or carbs. Most importantly, protein serves as an anchor for blood sugar. By eating protein at every meal, you prevent the massive insulin spikes and subsequent crashes that can lead to brain fog, irritability, and that 3 p.m. sugar craving. Think of protein as the steady log on the fire, while carbohydrates are the kindling that burns out quickly. The third pillar is rejecting the highly processed chemicals. The new guidelines are clear. Limit foods with long ingredient lists full of non-food items like white flour, food dyes, and petroleum-based preservatives, such as BHA or TBHQ. If you can't pronounce it, your body likely doesn't need it. These chemicals are often used to make food-like products hyperpalatable. Hyperpalatable is a fancy way of saying made to be addictive. These foods hit our brain's reward system, the dopamine loop, so hard that our natural satiety signals get drowned out. Getting your health moving in the right direction just simply starts in the kitchen. You don't need to be a five-star chef. You just need to use fresh, simple ingredients. Cooking at home gives you 100% control over what is entering your body. The fourth pillar is the war on added sugars. We've all known about the effects of sugar, but the 2026 guidelines now points out that sugar isn't a necessary part of a thriving body. In 2026, the focus has shifted toward the natural, fiber-rich sweetness of whole fruits. The fiber in whole fruit helps to slow down sugar absorption and protects your metabolism. Refined sugar, by contrast, causes a significant glucose spike, triggering the fat storage switch and causing systemic inflammation. The 2026 guidelines set a strict line for adults. Added sugars must make up less than 10% of daily calories. This averages out to roughly 50 grams or 12 teaspoons per day. The goal is to have a healthier metabolism. By keeping sugar low, we allow the body to switch gears and burn stored fat for fuel instead of constantly managing sugar spikes. As we move toward retraining our palates to enjoy the actual flavors of real food, it is helpful to note that the American Heart Association suggests an even more conservative approach for optimal cardiovascular health, recommending no more than 25 grams, 6 teaspoons of added sugar for both women and children, and then a little more for men, 36 grams. So does anyone know how many teaspoons of sugar are in the average 12-ounce soda? Just think about that a second. How many teaspoons are in roughly in a 12-ounce soda? So the answer is 10 to 12. So if you're going by the 10% rule, you can easily reach your daily limit on sugar just by one soda. Perhaps the most significant change in the 2026 update focuses on protecting children by setting strict limits on sugar. For ages 0 to 2 years old, the 2026 guidelines recommend zero added sugar. During these first 1,000 days of life, a child's metabolic pathways and taste preferences are being programmed for the rest of their life. So for children aged 2 and older, added sugar should be limited to around 25 grams or less, 6 teaspoons per day. And that should support healthy development. But the goal here is just to retrain children's palates to enjoy the actual flavors of real food before they become addicted to the hyper palatable chemicals. The gut-brain connection. Another change in the 2026 updates is the focus on nutritional psychiatry. We used to think that our gut and our brain were two totally separate systems, but we now know that they are in constant communication via the vagus nerve, the superhighway of the gut-brain axis. When we consume highly processed foods, we disrupt the good bacteria in our digestive tracts. This disruption is a leading cause of leaky gut, which triggers systemic inflammation and can travel to our brain. This can show up like brain fog, low energy, and even feelings of anxiety or depression. Approximately 95% of the body's serotonin, the neurotransmitter responsible for feelings of well-being, is produced in the gut, not the brain. By eating fiber-rich whole foods like beans, berries, and leafy greens, we are literally fertilizing our gut, which will help support our mental health. And I think we've all noticed that crash after a heavy meal or one that we have eaten a lot of sugar or something, and you feel that crash. So that is your gut-brain axis communicating. So there are many hidden addictive chemicals in our foods. Here's just three of them we're going to go over: MSG, high fructose corn syrup, and sucralose. So common additives like these, they act as metabolic disruptors that bypass your body's satiety signals, leading to hidden hunger, where your cells remain starved despite a full stomach. While high fructose corn syrup triggers rapid insulin spikes, sucralose can alter the gut microbiome and disrupt the leaky gut and even cause leaky gut. Um, and then the MSG, it's sometimes called yeast extract. It acts as an excitotoxin that overstimulates your taste receptors, making unhealthy foods feel addictive and disconnecting your brain from its actual nutritional needs. Identifying these chemicals is essential for protecting your gut-brain axis and ensuring your food provides real bioavailable nourishment, because these additives are often used to flavor products stripped of natural ingredients or natural nutrients. Avoiding them helps restore your metabolic switch, making it easier for your body to burn stored fat for fuel. By moving from being a passive consumer to an active label reader, you ensure your food choices translate into better mental and physical well-being. So how do we spot these hidden ingredients? Let's look at an example of a food label. So when reviewing a label, look for the other names these chemicals are called. There's many different ones. This healthy, savory snack bar is a typical processed snack which uses all three disruptors to achieve its flavor and shelf life. So let's look here on the ingredients. It's got vegetable oil, which another name is canola. It's got high fructose corn syrup in it. It's got yeast extract, like we said before. And then the other name for yeast extract is MSG or hydrolyzed protein. So it's got all of them and sucralose in it, every one of them. And most ultra processed foods are like that. So we really need to be watching that label. So let's talk about the price of fake foods and bioavailability. A common hurdle to healthy eating is the cost. However, in 2026, we look at the long-term price. While a box of processed crackers might be cheap at the register, it lacks nutrients, which can lead to hidden hunger. This is a state where your stomach is full, but your cells are starving for minerals, causing you to feel hungry again within an hour. Bioavailability is the measure of how much of the nutrient your body can actually absorb and use. Your body can use the vitamin C in an orange or the protein in an egg much more efficiently than the synthetic fortified vitamins added to like a cereal. By investing in more nutritious staples like eggs, frozen vegetables, and bulk grains, you're receiving more actual nourishment for your money. So now we're going to talk about some practical strategies for the real world. So our world is built for convenience, which often makes it difficult to prioritize whole food eating. The 2026 guidelines suggest the 80-20 mindset. The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to be consistent. If you're focusing on making real food choices 80% of the time, your body can handle the occasional processed treat without losing progress. The first strategy is shop. The first strategy is the grocery store hack. Shop the perimeter. That is where the real food lives. Produce, meat, dairy. In the middle aisles are where most ultra processed foods are. The second strategy is when you're dining out, skip the mystery sauce or get it on the side. At least you can then control the amount. Look for meals with recognizable parts like a protein, grilled chicken or fish, paired with a vegetable and a whole starch like baked potato or quinoa. The third strategy is for social gatherings. Most people want to eat better, but we're afraid to be different sometimes. So next time you go to a social gathering, bring a tasty whole food side dish like fresh green beans to help you get some extra nutrients in the meal. So moving forward, switching to real food is the single best way to reclaim your health and feel comfortable in your own skin. It doesn't take a huge, expensive overhaul to start noticing a change in your energy and mental clarity. It just takes intentionality. So, for the rest of March and beyond, I challenge you to look past the marketing and confusing labels. Just focus on the ingredients that you can actually recognize and pronounce. Start with one meal at a time. Be patient. Your taste buds will change. And remember, every whole food choice you make is a choice in the right direction. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate everybody for being here.